Just a second. Gonna remove, and there we go.
Hey, Marcos.
We are live.
All right.
What's up, guys?
Welcome back, Budcasters. We've got a wonderful episode. We've got Sami and Marcos here from Power Plant, and we'll get right back with them here in just a minute after this introduction.
Antenna vibes under the big sky. 4-6 Budcast gonna get you high. Adam and Tanaki and Nate bringing the heat. Notes on the way from the mountains to the plains. Fucking up, break your chains. Every topic, every strain in this cannabis domain. 4-6 Budcast, let's celebrate. Rolling up, it's time to celebrate. Adam and Tanaki and Nate and Montana, we dominate. From the soul of the villas, we're on the map. Lighting up the scene, ain't no cap. Hip-hop beats in the background as we drop knowledge profound. From CBD to THC, we're breaking down the chemistry in this podcast symphony. Come join our THC family.
Coming back.
All right, and we're back. So we've got a wonderful episode for you, but before we get to that, go ahead and smash that like button out there. We've got Daniel across the couch over there. We've got Tanaki next to me. We've got Michelle behind the desk holding it down and keeping us. And then we also have Marco and Sami Forcone from Power Plant up there in the Northwest area.
Yes, hello.
How are you guys doing? Thank you for joining us.
Doing good, really good. Okay, did everybody smoke up? Are we good? This is the weekend before 420.
Absolutely.
Episode. Let's go.
Holiday is upon us.
Yes.
All right.
We have to warm up.
I'm feeling super good right now. It's Friday.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
We like that. We like that. We definitely did a bunch of pre-gaming for sure. And then as everybody goes throughout our episode, we're going to have a couple of songs and stuff that we'll play about a couple minutes long. Perfect time to break out and get that smoking done.
Perfect. Love that.
So what do you guys got planned out there? Anything special for 420?
We're just blowing it up.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. Sunday, we've got Cluck Cluck Food Truck out at our Kalispell location. We've got awesome deals, 35% off all Power Plant products, 20% off all the other things. We've got prizes at all 4 shops. Win a Stella Dr. Dabber and some dabs. If I can say that on here, I bet I can.
Oh, absolutely.
Was that a shameless plug?
Wait,
does Dr.
We've got goodies, we've got eggs, little egg hunts. It's going to be a little fun little party. Get together.
Absolutely nice.
Wait, so does Dr. Dabber sponsor the show?
You know, Dr. Dabber, they don't sponsor it. We hope to get them, but we have given away some of their stuff here on the show. We've previewed some of their stuff, and we absolutely love a lot of their things that they're making out there, along with Luca and a few other people.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. You guys have the Dr. Dabber machine, right?
Yeah, we got the Dr. Dabber Switch, and then we also have the smaller Dr. Dabber.
I like that small one.
The Boost or the XS?
I believe it's the Evo.
The Evo Boost, yeah.
Yeah, the Evo Boost. That one I like. My wife really loves the Switch because you can do both the dry herb and the regular herb, plus it's self-cleaning, but it's a bit cumbersome.
I have one too, and it's just too much machine for me.
Yeah, agreed.
I have to agree. I think that the Evo is my preferred of the two when you guys bust them out. Yeah, that thing rips. I gotta tell you, it always sends me. It absolutely sends me.
Yeah, I don't think you should need a CDL to operate your smoking piece.
No, for sure not. For sure not. Well, I just had a quick question for you guys. Hi, for one, it's nice to meet you. From my perspective, I'm Daniel. It's wonderful to have you both here. I'm curious, how did Power Plant really come to life? You know what I mean? Like, give us your origin story, basically.
Well, first of all, I wish we were in the studio with you guys there, because this is cool, but I wish we were hanging with you guys there. So
it's usually quite a sesh beforehand as well.
Next time.
We'll have to have you back.
Like it. Power Plant. So it basically, my partner and I, Michael, I've been a musician my whole life, moved to Montana. I'm going to say, I think 15 years ago now. And basically in the gray market, my partner and I were growing on our own kind of once we got up here, and And when we got wind that it was possibly going to be legal, we got excited about it and thought this would be a real cool industry to get in, because we were both advocates about the cannabis and really loved it. And so thought, well, if we can get in, we might as well. So as it got closer and closer, we started getting excited. I know there was a couple of bills that were going to get passed, and I told my partner, look, if they pass this bill, it could actually work for us. So we kind of just waited in the wings. My partner got a license and was doing it medically in the beginning, and then as soon as we found out that they were gonna go wreck with it, we got really excited about it and decided that we were gonna just jump in with both feet. And then the name Power Plant, basically, it's a strain. So as we were kicking names around, honestly, I think the first name we came up with was going to be Green Arrow. We were going to deliver the greens to you all the time.
Nice.
So, and that was one of them. But then we started looking at names, and we were looking at strain names, and we thought, as soon as the Power Plant one came up, it felt like it was talking to us, how much we loved the plant, what it did for us, and it just everything about it. So as we started kicking around the ideas and got to the end of it, Power Plant by far was what we wanted to do. So that kind of like it spawned the name as soon as we did.
Uh-oh.
I think we lost him.
Lost Marco just a little bit.
I don't know.
Yeah, we were saying, then they went with Power
That gives you the
Plant,
opportunity.
ever since.
Yeah. You're
Why don't
taking
we
the floor.
continue on with you then? We'll wait for
So,
you to
yeah,
get
so
back.
and that was kind of the start. We opened 3 years ago on 420. So one of the things about Power
Wow.
Plant is Marco and everybody involved is very diligent about doing things the right way and being 100% ready. So we opened on 420 of 2022, and it's been the most awesome adventure ever since. I came on soon after. I had a history. My previous history was in healthcare, but the opportunity to work for Power Plant kind of evolved at the same time as I was on this very cool sober journey. In 2022, I decided I was going to quit drinking alcohol. And since Big Pharma doesn't work for me, I had to find something to help me with my anxiety and depression. And so with the rec in the state, I got to go on this really cool adventure. I'm just checking it out. And there's so many awesome dispensaries. I was medical too for a little bit, and Tamarack Dispensary up here is who I used for a long time. But then just once we went rec, there's so many to choose from. So I went on this cool journey of just trying things to see what worked for me, to understand. I have an obsessive personality, so I wanted to understand it all, see what worked, what didn't. And then when I stumbled into Power Plant in like May of 2022, I realized I recognized Marco and Medlin just from Whitefish. I'm from here, so I'm familiar with almost everybody. And it just was kind of perfect. They were looking for a little help. I was looking for a change of scenery. And I, at that point, had fallen so in love with cannabis and how it made me feel and how it pushed me out of my comfort zone. And we've been working together ever since.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
I think we got Marco's back. We just need to add him back to the stage.
Oh, there
Hey,
you go.
there you go. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened. Something. But wait, I wanted to
Glad you're
say,
back.
like, when Sami came to the Power Plant, she was the light that I love. Like, I love the light and live in the light. And I was looking for people who are consciously excited about cannabis. So when Sami came in, it was like a blessing for me. And since then, it's been her and I like really just leading this conscious idea about cannabis and what it's done for her and it's what it's done for me. So it was like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Definitely. She was just giving us a brief rundown on some of that and, how it definitely brought her out of some dark spots and led her to the light like you were talking about. So, I mean, how about you? I mean, how has it really impacted your life just beyond a business? How's cannabis touched your soul?
Oh man. Okay. So I was kind of a late starter. Like, I was in the music business my whole life. I'm a drummer, a producer, and an engineer. So I, was in the music.
Oh
We
no.
lost him again. Oh no. Gotta love this Montana internet.
Yeah.
We'll bring him back here in just
We'll
a
bring
second.
him back. I'm sure he will be back, and we will get right back into that
Yeah, I don't
story.
know if that's him dropping or us dropping, but we seem to keep Sami on, so I'm going to have to.
Oh, he is back already.
I'm still
All
here.
right, we're back. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys what's happening. We've had this issues with one of our alarms. So the alarm company keeps calling me right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'm assuming everything's okay, but as soon as they call me, it knocks me off. Sorry about that.
Yeah, oh, you're
No,
doing
definitely get
understand.
it. And when the alarm rings after hours, it sort of gives you a little bit of a hair stand up.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, so so I, so music was kind of like a thing that kind of pushed me to where I am, and pushed me into like music. And I got a late start into the cannabis thing. I really kind of didn't start smoking till my early 30s, but then became kind of an advocate about it and what it's done for me on every level. Like, so I try to take on too much in my life. I got too many things going on, and every time I need to slow down and focus, it does it for me every time. So I believe in it. I love it. And music as well. When I can smoke a little bit and play music with my friends, and it really takes the edge off everything else that's going on in my life, help me relax and focus, and kind of do what I want to do and be who I want to be. So I love everything about it. So that's why I am like, I'm just so gun ho about it all the time. And I really, it's so much more enjoyable than any other recreational drug. It really sets me in my place, helps me focus, and takes the edge off when I need it to come off. And it's pretty much, it's been in my life, and I'm so excited about it.
We relate on so many of those.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I guess, do you have any questions, Tanaki?
So wait, like, tell us a little bit about you guys. Like, give me some props on you guys. Like,
Fair.
Why do you guys have the podcast? What's going on?
Same. Really, we want to get the advocacy out there to everybody, get a voice out there. One of the things that we have is a large restriction on our ability to advertise or even mention our products, our name, our company, without getting shut down on different social media platforms and stuff like that. So we sat down and we really came together as a group and said, look, we need to create something to be able to get that voice out there. And in doing so, we registered under a totally different company that's not cannabis related. It's under a cyber technology company, and sort of created this podcast as a way to reach out to the community. And it's just blossomed to not only people inside Montana, but we've been fortunate enough to have people from Canada, from all over the United States. Looks like we might have a guest here soon from Germany and several other places. So it's just sort of exploded across the world, even.
I'm very excited
recently
for that Germany guest.
Yeah,
sorry, I don't mean to like toot our own horn on that one. Maybe a little teaser for our
I think
our
another one
viewers
from
out there.
Australia as well, Australia, UK.
Wow, that's incredible.
One of our guests that we had on from New York, she was a wonderful, wonderful guest and turned into be a wonderful friend of ours. Has sent us so many great talents that we're excited to sort of preview. Plus, people like yourself getting to hear your story and stuff like that.
We get excited about it.
Yeah. So what's your guys' end goal? Just creating awareness and keep the consciousness about it.
Yeah, I mean, keep spreading the word, spreading knowledge, letting people know that it's a good thing. It's medicinal. It helps a lot of people. Some of its health benefits, like what it can do for folks, all age groups, how it builds a community, how we've all built a community around it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it turned into like the Joe Rogan of cannabis podcasts, we certainly wouldn't turn that down. But our main focus is just to put out quality content that people really appreciate. Bring people like yourself on, who can share their stories, not only of their business journey, but their cannabis journey, some of their medical history. We've had all kinds of great stories of people who've had cancer, all kinds of MS, different ailments that it's really enriched their lives and brought them, to the fold. And for other people to hear that, I think that's a very, very big part of this advocacy. And, people just need somebody to relate to. Yes, I heard somebody who has used this. They're of my same age group or, my same kind of situation. So it might actually work for me. And get them past that hesitation point and maybe trying cannabis to help their ailments.
Right. We're not just a bunch of ne'er-do-wells in the basement. Regular people.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So all of us here, my wife and I, we own 406 Organics, which is a medical dispensary, medical and recreational dispensary, along with our cultivation. Tanaki's one of our bud tenders. Daniel's one of our business managers, as well as our IT professional. His wife, Hannah, who is also one of our hosts, does a lot of bookkeeping and stuff for our companies. And so really, we're just a team of cannabis people who are in the industry and just really trying to relate with everybody else and get it out there.
Awesome. Love it.
I'd have to foot stomp what Nate says. One of the most important parts of this show to me is just to destigmatize everything. Like I said earlier, we're just normal people in the cannabis industry. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, I think that's our approach to it as well. We're really like in the idea of consuming consciously, like, you know, respect the plant because it is powerful.
Definitely.
You can overdo it. You don't want to, you know, and really what it does to, you know, even just your everyday life, just a little bit of it, you know, THC can do amazing things, you know, let alone the you know, terpene profiles of everything that, you know, can, you know, that people love. And so it really is, it's awesome that you guys are, you know, really just the most important thing is that we kind of have two hands tied behind our back as far as advertising and really pushing what we want to be this conscious movement of cannabis. You know, it's, you know, I make the joke of everybody about, you know, the kid just sitting in his room taking too many bong rips. You know, that's not really that's not what we're trying to do.
No.
You know, this is a lifestyle thing, and it really helps people in their everyday life. And I know Sammy and I it really does a lot for us in that way. So we're really excited about the future of it, especially in Montana.
And you guys mentioned there the terpenes. I kind of have a question, and maybe we can follow on with a segment. But what's your guys' favorite terpene profile, and why specifically, if you have a reason?
Well, like you know, I love a heavy limonene, limonene, however you say it, but caryophyllene, the garlicness of that. I mean, when that's heavy in a strain, and you can pull that garlic, and it's a nice relaxing bit. That's my favorite, but it's like cheese. It's like I like it if it's stinky.
Man, that's
that garlic
refined
cheese,
palate.
Yeah.
I appreciate that on a deep
Most
level.
certainly.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Marco,
I'm just more of a sativa snob. Anything that's a mix of any kind of sativa, I really enjoy it. So I'm not really personal to one terp. It's really just you know, flavors of sativas that help me kind of. I don't look to slow down. I look to level out with cannabis. So I'm always in like let's go mode.
Right.
So any favorite strains out there that you guys are currently enjoying?
Okay, we just got some new strains, and there's we a couple that we got. Well, we got this one that's called Stone Panda, which is a really light THC, but a really kind of fun. You can smoke a whole joint and just be excited about it, and everything's good, you know. But we have
like barely. You're not even close to too high, but you're just relaxed and silly. It's wonderful.
Okay.
The name says itself. The Stone Panda is like you just kind of relax and get a little silly.
Is there some high CBD content into that, or is it still pretty low in the CBD?
It's still pretty low, honestly. But yeah.
You know, I'm hearing a lot of people call for more, like they said back in California and some other places, there was sort of almost the 1-to-1 strains out there. And hearing a lot more call for CBD intensive strains. Are you guys hearing that over there?
We're definitely hearing that too. It's definitely, and I feel like it's definitely something that is popping up in the industry, which is awesome because I think we're looking for more of just, you know, not just the psychoactive, you know, high. We're looking for the, you know, the balance of that relaxing in the body and the joints and in the mind.
The full spectrum effect, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and we'll get into that in the news a little bit later.
Oh boy, exciting. Very exciting on the news.
We've got some really good studies that we'll be able to talk about later on that, especially when it comes to CBD.
Well, right on. Speaking of caryophyllene and limonene, do you want to introduce the strain of the week, Tanaki?
Well, we should probably also play their their quick vid, huh?
We made you guys a video and everything.
Oh,
and you all know that this is Smoke 'em if you got 'em time.
Yes, it is.
So I've got to take everybody down in order to do
Yep.
the video. So give me
We'll
just a second.
be right back with you guys in just a moment.
Montana sky. Power plant vibes. Cruising down the highway, neon lights in my eyes. White fish glows in the golden sunrise. Kalispell air, mountains kissing the blue. Eureka's calling, you know it's true. Fresh cut flower, smooth and high. Super lemon haze lifting me to the sky. Silver tip spark, gelato glide. Every pre-roll hits with hometown pride. Power plant vibes, light it up, let it flow. From the flathead nights to the Remington glow. Edible sweet, cartridges pure, Montana made. The vibe feels sure. Oh, pass it around. Good vibes rise where the roots hit the ground. Power plant, yeah, more than a name. Big sky dreams in the fast lane. Gummy so smooth, flavors on point. 5mg chill for the perfect night joint. Diamonds flash, dabs hit deep. Eureka to whitefish, wide awake, no sleep. Every 10 sold, hearts align. $1 back, veteran shine. Hemp for victory, strong and proud. Power plant love, say it loud. Power plant vibes, light it up, let it flow. From the flathead nights to the Remington glow. Edible sweet, cartridges pure, Montana made. The vibe feels sure. Oh, pass it around. Good vibes rise where the roots hit the ground. Power plant, yeah, more than a name. Big sky dreams in the fast lane. Gummy so smooth, flavors on point. 5mg chill for the perfect night joint. Diamonds flash dabs, dabs hit deep. Eureka to whitefish, wide awake, no sleep. Every 10 sold, hearts align. $1 back, veteran shine. Hemp for victory, strong and proud. Power plant love, say it loud. Montana skies, electric wide. Nature in the spark, worlds collide. Mountains to plains, hear the name. Power plant empty, lighting up the game. But when you ride through that 406 sign, stop at the place where the vibes realign. More than a shop, it's a lifestyle tune. Power plant empty under the Montana moon. Power plant tea, lemon tea, let the good vibes bloom.
All right.
Totally getting it.
Boom. All right. Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, I love it.
That was
Love
so
AI.
great.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
We're glad to
Oh my gosh.
I could have whipped one up real quick too. I mean, I didn't know that it was going to be like that. That was awesome.
You know what? Send it to us, buddy. We'll
Please
play
do
it next
that.
week.
Add us on Facebook,
Oh,
add
yeah.
us on Spotify, like hit us back with that history.
Oh my God, love it.
We'll drop
Awesome.
it on our Spotify.
Yes, we'll link you
Love it.
wherever you want.
Love it.
Love that for sure. So, well, I'm glad that you guys love that so much.
Yeah, that was
I hate
cool.
to transition away from it so quick, but we are kind of going into our strain of the week here, which is gelato. We won't jump right into that video or anything. We'll save that for a minute if you guys don't mind.
We can save it for
Yeah.
last.
Yeah, but gelato, of course, extremely well-known strain. Apparently, it's also known as Larry Bird. It's an evenly balanced hybrid marijuana strain made from Sunset Sherbet and the Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies. I love the Sunset Sherbet crosses that have been coming out lately. So,
Extra points if you can tell us who Larry Bird played for.
Ooh, bonus points in the chat. Consumers who have smoked gelato say the effects of the strain come on quickly. I can attest to that. I have a little story about this strain in a little bit. You'll be left feeling numb to pain, relaxed, but mentally stimulated and productive. I call it a nice hybrid effect. You know what I mean? Typically around 20% potency. It's your average strain. Maybe a little on the low end for consumers these days, if you will. quote unquote. Thank you for laughing. I appreciate you. I so appreciate you.
Yep.
So appreciate you. Speaking of that story, one of the first strains that I bought on my journey back after my 10-year hiatus was I bought an ounce of gelato. And for me personally, I have a hard time smoking more than like an eighth of one kind of flower before I get really sick of it.
Yeah.
But it was so cheap. It was on sale. It was like $60 for the ounce or something. I was like, oh, I was just coming back. I thought I was getting the best deal ever. It was just a headache, I'll tell you that. Anyway, it's still a good strain. That was just a bad bud. That's all.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
I've had opportunity to not only smoke it, but grow it. It's done well in the garden. Really appreciated every aspect of the plant and just the ability to focus. I mean, for me, having that entrepreneurial spirit, and I believe Marco's talked about that, can't just stay on one project at one time. So something that'll just help you focus and stick to the project you're trying to stick to. I mean, that's something I can appreciate.
Absolutely. Have you had any experience with gelato, Tanaki? I think we've sold it out of the dispo.
Yes, we've sold some gelato crosses out of the dispensary.
The
No
Dosey.
straight gelatos that I can remember. But I've also tried a lot of gelato crosses. Excuse me.
How about you guys at Power Plant? Have you had the gelato strain out there and had the ability to grow
we
it?
have a watermelon gelato that is one of our staples on our menu. So it's not a pure gelato strain. It's gelato 33 and animal cookies, I believe. Is that right, Marco? And it's it's an indica dominant hybrid, and it's got a really visceral high. Like it's really like you feel it. It's a very feel good strain, and not totally couch locked, but definitely
Easy to
cozy.
grow. It's easy to grow. It's gorgeous. It always, it's
that
really
part matters for the people in the chat.
Some of
that
them
don't
home
know.
growers.
If a plant doesn't look good, it's not as interesting to grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a set of lavender going through the grow right now that is just purpling out absolutely beautifully. It looks so good in there right now. I'm excited for the next couple of weeks.
Our main grow is off the 93, which is kind of the segue from Kalispell to Whitefish,
Yeah.
So we're literally right on the street. We're probably too close to the street. So we're harvesting right now. So it's constantly, my friends are like, you guys are harvesting. You guys are harvesting. I can smell it. I can smell it. And it's so classic because one guy actually came in and was like, hey, can you guys turn that off? Like whatever's happening. It smells way too much every time I drive by. It's way too skunky. Can you guys turn it off? Because I actually, we have our air conditioning units that sit above the grow. So I basically just I vent it right out the building. So it's it's like when you go to the bakery or you go to the donut shop, you want that smell. So as you're driving by, it's like my friends get so excited. They know when to come in. They know when we are harvesting. So it's pretty cool.
That's great stuff. We actually are along the highway as well. Oh, you're
being along the highway, we have a lot of people stop in and be like, yo, it smells extra right now. Are you guys
Oops.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, and the 93 corridor is something that I'm pretty familiar with. I was born in St. Ignatius, lived in Polson there, so I understand the "Pray for Me, I Drive 93" bumper sticker.
Yeah, I love it.
So, what kind of products do you guys see coming off your shelves a lot more? Do you guys see more of the edibles being sold right now, pre-rolls? What's sort of the main customer purpose?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're transitioning. I mean, it's so funny. Just the trends over the last few years. Like in the winter time, we definitely see a lot of flower, a lot of joints. But as we move into the summer, right now, our disposables and our carts are popping off a lot. But I mean, our gummies too. I feel like our gummies are just very consistently always sold, always good. But we're always really excited about them. It's 5 milligrams of goodness and does the trick. Let me tell you.
So you guys are already at the 5 milligram level.
Yeah, we are. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because that's the new bill that's coming out. Obviously, that's gone through, and everybody's going to have to drop down to that 5 milligram level here. So.
You know, I don't necessarily think it's such a bad idea. Only in this light, like, you know, there are a lot of beginners and intermediates, and gummies is kind of that thing. You know, if you're not really, if you don't want to eat something that's going to get you baked or whatever, you know, gummies is at entry level. So having it at 5, because look, I mean, we sell 20 in each one of them. If you want more, eat 2 of them. They're gummies. They're going to be delicious. Like, it's an oxymoron. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'll have another. I'll have another. I'll have another. So, you know, 5 milligrams isn't a bad thing necessarily. So.
Yeah, no, and I tend to agree that, you know, it doesn't really matter too much. Like you said, I mean, if you want 2, you want 4, you want 5, it doesn't really matter that much. The only thing I see is just the amount of packaging and stuff like that people are going to have to go out and retool, and a lot of the unnecessary costs for that.
Yeah.
I think better education is something that we definitely need to be able to do, not only just inside the dispensary, but just some common sense, you know, regular education. Hey, look, folks, when you're starting off with gummies, don't take the whole pack, grandma. You know, maybe take like a half a gummy, you know, or, you know, don't take, you know, an entire syringe of Rick Simpson oil. You maybe want to try to start off with just a little bit of a, you know,
a pinhead,
you know,
and then move up from there.
You know, 100%. I think, you know, that's one of our goals and missions with our bud tenders specifically. But I mean, then that's also a way to connect with your community, is getting to talk to, you know, them about why they're using, what they're looking for, what experience they're looking for, and walking them through it. I mean, even when I walked into those dispensaries 3 years ago, before I started working in the industry, that was one of the things I was like, I feel like I shouldn't be in here. So can you help me? And you know, sometimes you had people that were like, yeah, let's talk about it. And then sometimes people didn't have much to say. And I think if, you know, to help end the stigmas, we have to be confident when we're talking about whether it's for our mental health, our physical bodies, or if we just really like getting high, to be able to say that in a safe space with our customers, and then to walk them through the experience. Like 5 milligrams, you're going to feel good. 10, you're going to, you know, if you're new to this, it might be too much.
Right.
So you can always cut it down. You can add more. You can't subtract. You know, that's one of the things I've been saying all the time. And it works for me too. I'm always like, oh, did I accidentally take 2? I'm like, I'm locked in. Okay. So
you can't eat less.
Yeah, it's kind of like a haircut. Just start with a little snip.
Yeah.
Don't dedicate to the full bang.
No Bic today. Tanaka, what were you going to say about that? In and out.
Okay,
Oh,
you
there
know,
you go.
The worst. Sorry, I was going to say the worst thing about it is just regulating it in general. They do not need to regulate it. This is not for kids. We are adults. This is why it became legal. There's no reason why they should put. That's like saying, you know, okay, you can only put, you know, 30% alcohol in your bottle of whiskey. You know what I mean? It's like who gets? Why you're deciding that for us is irrelevant. It means it serves no purpose. You know.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, and we've talked about this several times. Right now, I can go out and I can buy a bottle of Everclear, which you know, I mean, it'll wreck you in a second. And I also liken that to, you know, the number hunters. What's your highest THC? You know, well, you take a shot at, you know, Everclear. If you want to get smashed, you can find, you know, the highest alcohol concentration level out there. But if you really want to enjoy it, sit down, have a microbrew without getting smashed, you know, there's some really great cannabis strains out there that are pretty low. And I'm 100% with you. I think we've been consuming cannabis for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. We've been consuming it illegally long before any of this regulation came about. We just wanted a way for society to accept it. And then unfortunately they came in and started slapping down all kinds of rules and unnecessary burdens.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
a whole nother story. The regulations are ridiculous. We're the most regulated industry. Don't know why. There's, you know, I mean, if you talk about what alcohol and the death rate that's have to cannabis, and you know, they shouldn't be looking at us like that. They should be looking at us like a real natural way for medicine. And, you know, I mean, it can, like I said, it can get in the wrong hands. And if, you know, if kids start out smoking a lot when they're young, or taking THC when they're young, and they don't have illnesses, it's not a good thing. You don't want your kids doing it. And that's up to the parents. You know, you have to just be a responsible parent and let your kids know what it is, and don't hide it, and don't make it seem like it's this thing that, they have to be fear of. It just has to be as natural as alcohol is in our society, And I think if they took that approach, we wouldn't be even talking about it like we are.
Yeah.
Most certainly. And you look at some of your European countries where they're allowed to, have wine and stuff with their kids out in public. They teach them the responsible way so that it's not just go out there, get smashed at a college party and end up overdosing. They have a little bit more familiarity with it. And I think there needs to be a little more understanding of that. Should you be getting, somebody who's 5, 6, 7 years old, smoking with them or whatever, just for fun? No, absolutely not. You should not.
Right. I mean, most of the time you want to wait till your frontal lobe is developed, and then you're going to reap all of the benefits.
Right.
There's outside circumstances of that, but again, like Marco said, and like you've alluded to as well, just with the education of what this plant can do for us, regardless of the outcome you're looking for, with the right knowledge behind it, it's a tool. It's a tool for a good time. It's a tool for our mental health. It's a tool for our physical bodies, and it is a plant. It's not processed, besides all the crazy testing that we have to do, it's not processed and broken down to its, a fake substance, synthetic thing. It's this beautiful gift that we have that brings so much life and laughter. And I think for those of us in the industry, the best thing we can do is to talk about it on a regular basis in our shops, but outside of it, and break down the stigmas. Even as somebody in their 30s, I still had this like, oh, I feel like I'm doing something I shouldn't be at the beginning of this. Where's that coming from? So
especially when we contribute so much in tax revenue to the state and everything else like that, and to be treated like sort of a stepchild business, like, oh, well, you're the fringe. You're just one of those red light district businesses almost.
Totally.
Yeah, it's interesting. We felt that way in the beginning. Like, soon as we opened and started getting inspectors coming in and inspecting us, honestly, it felt like it was a shakedown every time they came in.
Yes.
They didn't come in with this attitude like, hey, we're here to help. Let's make sure everything is good. They came in like, you guys are probably doing something illegal. We're going to catch you. We're going to shut you down. We're going to fine you. And it wasn't the case with us at all. We were literally, as the state was, because they have made more mistakes than I can, I can't believe how many mistakes the state has made towards it. They didn't come in with that attitude with us, like, hey, we're working on this together. Let's really try to make this a successful community and, something really nice. They came in with this attitude, like, like ex-cops ready to bust you, like, what are you doing wrong? And it was horrible. It felt like wrong, and I think they need to reapproach it that way. And I think it's bit them in the ass a little bit, excuse my French, a little, but
no, you're good.
Because they don't realize that, we're in it just as much as they are. If they want to regulate it, then we are learning as they are learning, because they come out, inspectors, they read up on it, but they don't have it all, And so when we as businesses are going so deep into being compliant and wanting to be, wanting to make sure, of course, we want to let the consumer know what they're getting on every level as far as potency and what it is, and, and making sure it is safe and good for everybody. So we're taking that approach the whole time. So, as they come in with this attitude, like, maybe, you guys just got out of the gray market and now you're in the, now it's go time. So we want to make sure you guys aren't out the back dooring it all the time, And I think that's been one of the biggest problems we faced, and because compliance is getting out of control, like they're regulating it. They're going way too far on it.
Well, it seemed like there was a lot of almost fine hunting, that just nitpicky stuff. You had this label, moved 2 inches to the right. There's a $10,000 fine. You didn't add this particular, period right here in your sentence, of your SO. So there's $1,000.
Your font size. We got in trouble for our font size. We were like, instead of 12, we were supposed to be 14 and we were 12, and we got a violation for that. It's like, come on, really? Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, it almost reminds you of being in grade school at some points.
Totally.
Yeah,
absolutely. As long as the information is getting across, then what is really the problem?
Well, and the problem is there's not a lot of people. It's not the same all the way across. I go to dispensaries all the time, and they don't have their cultivation or their dispensary license on their packaging. They're not saying where they got the stuff. They're not going through and putting in the proper labels and all of that. So it's one thing if you're meeting the requirements and you have met all the requirements. Font size, who cares? Your little yellow sticker wasn't yellow. You marked it with a marker instead of a pre-printed sticker. Okay, so now you're charging me $500 for stickers, and now I've got to do these new labels. I got to do this. I mean, it's ridiculous on the amount of bureaucracy that they're pushing on these companies, and their ultimate goal is to push us out. They want to do 5 or 6 inspections for big companies, and
Unfortunately, you're
screw
right.
everybody else. Screw everybody else. They want 5 or 6 inspections a year, and they want the tax money from those people, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's my honest truth.
Well, and it's a hard battle to deal with because we've seen it in multiple states across the country play out over and over again. And it really doesn't play out well for the consumer in the end. I mean, there's a lots of diversity throughout the market. You wind up like we had Frank from Calgary on, or was it Calgary?
Canada.
Canada, anyway. He was on and he basically explained to us that they have just basically 10 strains and that's all they have available sort of throughout the entirety of the area.
They're growing 100,000 plants.
You know, and
Wow,
and
really?
That's what we were
so
told.
the diversity and everything
Wow.
else like that is just pretty limited. And you're starting to see that also in a lot of people talking about it in California with a lot of the shops and everything shutting down. I mean, there's just not a lot of availability for good products. Most of it's mass produced crap that people scraped up off the floor and turned into dabs or did whatever.
Right.
And the illegal markets are still going wonderfully well in all of those areas. And that's one thing that I think most people don't even consider, that we still compete with the black market every day.
100%.
Oh,
But
yeah,
the black
we are
market is
definitely.
the one that's going to sell to the underage kids. We're checking IDs.
That's exactly right. And, you know, we're making sure we're putting out a quality product and everything else like that. I mean, the one thing that I had a really good long conversation with somebody at the CCD, and they came at me with that level of like, well, you guys probably did this illegally before. And it was like, well, actually, a lot of us were business professionals. We had careers outside of cannabis. We chose to invest our life savings into this business.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody who's going to take, you know, a couple $100,000 of their life savings and just, you know, piss it away for nothing.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, the compliance issue for most people, they're wanting to be compliant so that they can stay in business and recuperate their investments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the game. That's what we're in.
Mm.
You know, I think there's some of the things that I thought was the most ridiculous couple of laws that I thought in the beginning, which kind of still float around. Is the packaging thing. So if if I wholesale to another dispensary, that dispensary has to get my packaging approved.
No
After I've
longer.
got it approved. So right, I know, but those were like some how
Yes.
are you?
Oh, yeah. We remember those.
It just goes to show that the state, they're coming in having no idea about the industry and about the plant and what it's about. You know, they're just trying to get their money and figure out ways. You know, they're looking at other states that were doing it as they came in and trying to really figure out how they can capitalize on it instead of just looking to the people and who are, you know, people who have been doing it before it even became recreational. You know, the medical everybody who was doing it medically, they were actually looking, you know, and really knowing what the consumer wants and what they want to do, and you know, and really take that approach to it. And they didn't. You know, of course it's you know, it's politics, so they're looking at the money and looking and going after the money, because I'll tell you what, the elephant in the room is taxes.
That's
It is. I mean, Montana prides itself on not having any taxes. All of a sudden, they jump right to a 20% sales tax. Like, how is that? Like, who's sitting around as a consumer saying, "Yeah, let's do that." You know what I mean? That sounds good. Let's start at 20%, and then they let the counties jump on, and they jumped in for 3. You know, we have Whitefish that has resort tax. So 26. You got to give me an extra $26 for every $100 you spend. For what? To like, there's no guy like, you know, there's no big guy going, I'm going to take care of you. You know, you put the money in, you pay us. We're going to make sure you're safe. The state isn't doing anything. You know, they're just taking the people, you know, the people of Montana's money, you know, and it's so unfair.
Well, you know, that's what is
true.
really hit it on the head there. It's the consumer, you know, it's the consumer's money that they're saying, look, if you want to go out and you want to purchase a product, you have to pay the state 25% or 27% in some cases just to go and purchase a product that you said was legal. We always hear this argument from the other side that, people didn't know what they were voting for or anything else like that. I will tell you that absolutely nobody that I talked to voted for a 23% tax. Nobody voted for a 20% tax.
Voted for that. And
6%, maybe 7%, you know, I mean, that may be reasonable. And I think that's what everybody was voting for. Yeah, if you got to get a little off the top, go ahead and take a little off the top, and we'll give that to you. But when they come in and they take your entire head off, you know, it's just not sustainable. And most people who aren't in the business say, well, the consumers are paying that. Yes, but we as the producers, we as the retailers have to reduce our prices enough in order to cover that. So we're actually having a double net loss of our income right there.
Exactly. It's our biggest challenge, and nobody realizes that, you know, it really is. It's a bummer.
Well, and you're getting taxed not just on the sales tax, but you're getting your employees' taxes. You've got all of your business tax. Then you also have all your personal tax.
You can't write anything
and
off.
You can't write any of this off. And so now you are getting, I mean, literally we get taxed 5 or 6 different ways before my husband and I ever see any money.
No,
Period.
the same thing. Yeah. I mean, you know, we're definitely not in it for the money at this point.
No.
We can say we have contributed to our state handsomely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of tax money flowing for sure.
Well, there's gonna be a kickback on it for sure. You know, California, they got all cocky about it and really started raising it up, and then all of a sudden, everybody was just like, "Well, we're not going to do it." The black market just rose up and got, you know, because that's the competition, and the guy next door doesn't really care. You know, getting things tested is important. Pesticides is obviously the most important one. Outside of that, you know, everybody's been smoking weed for a long time. Everybody's smoked it all before it became legal. Nobody's died. Everything's going to be okay. They do have to regulate it, and we want it to be regulated, but at a certain point, you know, you got to really, like, you know, the black market was so heavy, and then look what California did. California got their butt kicked so hard, they said, okay, we'll take it back down. We'll take it back down. They started losing, you know, millions and millions of dollars, and realizing, oh, we probably made a mistake. We shouldn't have kept raising the taxes, and, you know, the dumb consumer is just going to pay it, because we all came into it that way. Even Montana, everybody was so excited about it being legal. We turned a blind eye to them saying 20%. And you don't realize it as a business owner, that is so taxing on us, you know, that we do have to complete with the black market, because my friend down the street is going to sell you the same weed just as good, and he doesn't have to pay any tax. So he's going to give you that eighth for $30, and that's all him, you know.
Well, and he doesn't have to have any packaging, labeling. He doesn't have to have any testing. He doesn't have to have any of that.
Licensing.
I mean, he goes to the old school Ziploc baggie and a scale, and that's where you're at.
Yeah, so it's kind of a bummer. You know, we're all in hopes that the state will realize it as time goes on. They'll realize, you know, once it's flattened out and we get past all these ideas of how we're going to regulate it and stuff, I feel like the state, you know, the people are going to vote for it. And hopefully, you know, some of my friends are like, you know what, tax will never go backwards, dude. It just never does. But I have a feeling that it has to. The state, it'd be the dumbest thing they could possibly do to not really realize that the state that prides itself on having no sales tax, it's everybody there. It's affecting everybody in the state. It's affecting, you know,
well,
so they have to realize that that's really what it is. And hopefully they'll start, you know.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, I think as with anything else, if they lowered the taxes, the trickle down effect would happen. The prices would go down, which I honestly would assume increases overall sales. They're probably not actually going to see any real loss in tax revenue.
There's a lot of studies out there that actually support that position, that if they go ahead and lower prices, that actually increases tax revenue to the state, just because consumers are spending a lot more on the same amount of products, and they're still going to get the same amount of taxes essentially.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was going to say, if the consumer knows that they can go to a dispensary and know that, you know, it's clean, it's been tested, and they can get it for the same price as the black market, they're gonna go to the dispensary and buy it. But if they gotta go buy an eighth for $30 and pay, you know, 26% sales tax, they're not going to do it. They'll just go to their buddy. Money is everything for us. You know, it's how we survive. So we don't want to throw it away. Yeah, we do want what we want, and we turn a blind eye to it. But it's only gonna be for so long.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm gonna force boot wrap up that conversation. Sorry, guys. are approaching our end time limit. We
Yeah.
do have a few other segments we need to get to.
Cool.
So
It's been a
Nate
great
mentioned
conversation.
studies a couple of times. So why don't we just go ahead and launch into the news?
Oh, we're not going to do your
We'll
trivia.
just
I
go.
think we should do
We
trivia.
can do trivia at the very end.
Awesome.
That's fine.
All
Let's
right.
just go into news first.
Cool. We can launch into the news real quick because that gets into some of our conversations we've already been having.
Hell yeah.
Let's get in.
Smoke one real quick.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. Real
Real
quick.
quick.
Cannabis updates fresh and real. Tune in with Nate, it's the big deal. Cannabis news with Nate, let's go. Every story makes you glow. Stay informed, don't be late. Cannabis news with Nate.
And we're back.
All right. And we're back with the news. Yep, I'm Nate. So real quickly, we're going to go over quite a bit of topics. But in the Montana front, we've obviously got a wrap up coming from our legislative session, biannual. Looks like Senate Bill 27 is going to be signed into law. We're going to have the moratorium go into effect. There is Senate Bill 636, which was the packaging we were talking about, dropping everything down to roughly 5 milligrams per serving, only 100 milligrams maximum per package on your edibles and stuff like that. So everything's pretty much the same there. But the one bill that's really coming out and that's hitting pretty hard is House Bill 508. That one there actually adds some language to the DUI bill. And it says if you're under 21 years of age and you have any amount of THC inactive metabolites, you are automatically considered DUI per se. So it's kind of a dangerous situation for some of our underage medical patients and stuff like that. People don't really know how this is going to quite play out. I personally think that this gets rid of due process, which is pretty ignorant. And I also think that, where's the probable cause to just really concern yourself that some kid may have some inactive metabolites and that if they smoked, say 20 days ago,
That's what I was
or
thinking.
had an edible 20 days ago, that they're still DUI. So there's no medical science behind this or anything else like that. I think it's a pretty dangerous bill, but it's heading to the governor's desk. So if people do not want that to become law, they better call him up and tell him to throw the veto down. I don't know whether that'll work with GM Forte or not, but pretty dangerous bill out there.
Believe it or not, I was actually offered a green card when I was 16. I turned it down at the time for various reasons, but that would have completely disabled that ability for me to effectively medicate. Granted, I under no circumstances advocate for underage use or whatever, but if you have a green card, then there is a valid circumstance for you. That is a thing that happens in Montana. We have very young people come in with medical cards.
Absolutely.
That, as you said, inactive metabolites. So 26 days ago, Jimmy took their medicine and now they're getting in trouble.
Well, I mean, everybody knows. Let's be real. Let's talk about it real. We all went to high school. We all smoked pot. We all did some stuff like that. High school kid goes to a party, smokes a joint. 20 days later, gets pulled over. Cop, wants to give him a hard time. Says, hey, you know what? Let's take a blood sample from you because I think you're high or something else like that. Inactive metabolites, automatic DUI. I mean, you're just really ruining people's lives for one.
Yeah, I mean, you're ruining their future. I mean,
Anything.
not on your record.
You know what? It's actually going to be so hard to prove it. I think I don't want it at all, but it's like the alcohol thing. If you have 0.08, I think it's like if you are, I mean, if your son, say he does that and he's underage and you got to go to court and the judge is going to look at you like you smoked it 20 days ago, and that's why the cop's going to have to arrest you, take you to jail. They can't do a blood test on site. It's going to be a hard thing to do. I don't want it at all, but it's like I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Really,
But I think that's
it's good.
again like where the community comes into play. Like we can have these conversations in the industry, but like our community members need to be the ones that also come and back us when we say, hey, like these are issues that, I mean, with everything that's going on in the world and everything that's going on in our state, and this is something that we're focusing on to make a point, to demonize this, this plant medicine that, again, it's so bored with the conversation. It's 2025. Everybody knows that everybody around you smokes weed, regardless of which way you voted. Like,
And let's stop
we
going
see
back.
everybody of every walk of life come through those doors. So even if it's not for you, to continue to find these weird pinholes to be like, but we'll get you here, when there's other things that we could be focusing on and other things we could be putting our energy to, including, and also, like we've alluded to, educating the public about it, educating our kids about it. It's just the more knowledge is power, and the more we have it, and the more we use it, the better we become. And so if our state, which we voted for, would listen to the people who voted for this and come to us to help them figure out what's the best way to go about these things, it would be conducive, it would be fair, and would be better.
We are definitely not your adversary when it comes to state regulators. We're trying to work with you. And I think that's one of the messages we've tried to push on this show here for sure. One of the other ones that's working its way through is Senate Joint Resolution number 48. This was like introduced at the final hour just a couple of days ago. And so they can introduce these joint resolutions and stuff just about any time throughout the legislative session, try to move them through. But what I'm seeing here is this is coming from Mike Yakowicz, Greg Hertz, and Tim McGilvray. And I'm seeing a common thread here with these particular names and a lot of these quote unquote prohibition bills. They have Ben Court, they have Steve Zabawa behind them pushing these bills. And to Sammy's point there, it seems like these are just little chips at our legalization, trying to, slowly erode away what we've already moved towards. This Senate Joint Resolution, basically it establishes an interim committee for the public health and safety impacts of marijuana legalization, requiring the final results to be turned over to the 70th legislature. So they want to create an interim committee to really look and see what the health and the financial impacts of marijuana legalization has been on the state of Montana. Just come and talk to us. Don't waste taxpayer dollars. Sit down and actually speak to the industry that's been here for 20 years now, medically and legally. And we can save the taxpayers a lot of money on this. And I think this is an unnecessary bill. But again, it's just the way that it's worded. You look through this, it just says, look, we're going to try to figure out ways to erode the cannabis law and get that in place for the next legislative session. This is a direct affront to the interim legislative committee that deals with the cannabis laws. So this is like the anti-cannabis committee versus the interim economic affairs committee that we deal with.
Yeah. Which you think they should introduce a bill in the same way to really study it, so we know what, we can give information to every consumer that's even greater. Like why we're, instead of regulating it and making it feel like, you're doing something wrong and we're going to catch you on it, really start to study the plant and study how it is socially in our state. That would be great information for everybody. Is it are we getting out of alcohol? Are are DUIs going down because of it? Those are the things we want to know, because I feel like I can feel it happening in my community. With my friends, it is turning that way quite a bit, actually, especially as we get into the drinks, because people like drinking socially, so if it, maybe it's going to turn. And if we could focus on maybe what that's doing to our society, instead of how you guys are, just the regulated side of it, it'd definitely be a lot better.
Well, you read my mind and segued right into the next subject. So bipartisan bill was introduced today, actually, two of them. Representative Dave Joyce, Republican Ohio, and Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat New York, introduced two pivotal bills. One of them is the Prepare Act, and it has a name that's way too long and talks about adult regulation and all kinds of other stuff. But what it really does is it's this bipartisan legislation would create a commission that studies the federal regulation of cannabis, modeled after alcohol. So they're going to look at the way that we've done the alcohol regulations throughout the United States, try to figure out some federal cannabis regulations that would make sense across the board. Again, I'm going to, sort of throw this out there. Just come to us. That's been in the market for the last 20 years. We don't need to model it after alcohol. We have some pretty good idea and understanding of how to do this. But it also tasks the Attorney General with the formation of the commission within 30 days of the passage of the bill. So they're expecting this to get, a fairly quick passage, and they're also expecting people to jump on it and start studying it as quick as possible. The commission would analyze how current state, federal regulations, particularly those for alcohol, can inform national cannabis policies and procedures, and it will address product safety, labeling, public health, and equity. Pretty much everything that we cover here in Montana with our cannabis laws and in several other states. But most notably, the updated version requires input from agencies like HUD, the Department of Labor, Treasury, ONDCP, and the Indian Health Services. So they are definitely looking to try to get that figured out throughout all the federal agencies, figure out how it's going to impact them, how it's going to impact their programs, and how they implement it properly.
That's a lot to do.
Yeah,
in 30 days.
And well, they got to get the commission started in 30 days. Hopefully they'll get their stuff done in 30 days. But knowing Congress and their commissions, they're probably going to take 30 to 35 years.
Yeah. Well, maybe my kids will have some rights.
The other piece of legislation I think is more important, and it's actually pretty exciting for me, is the States 2.0 Act. So this bill would end federal prohibition in states where it's already legal. So they're basically saying, look, you've already got it legal. Prohibition has ended in your state. We're no longer treating it as a federal crime. You stick to your state regulations and rules. And I think that's the way we should be going with it, period. You know, we've already
100%.
all of these regulations in place. We don't need more federal regulations. We just need them to back out and get away.
Yeah.
Love that.
100%.
That would be awesome.
So, but it's, you know, to me, the thing that I'm excited about is these are bipartisan bills. Right now, our Congress is so polarized. I mean, it is just ridiculous. And so to see anybody working together on any kind of level, but they're also working together on cannabis. And amazingly enough, most of the polling shows that a lot of the Republicans in Congress are actually supportive of cannabis reform and to get rid of the old prohibition scheme. So I'm going to, wonder how this is going to play out in Montana and other places, because if you got federal legalization, guess what? You're charging 23% tax. I can go over to North Dakota, or I can go over somewhere else, buy it for no tax whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's going to turn into a pretty big issue. And so they're going to have to address this pretty quickly. And I don't think that most people are really looking at this from that level.
Yeah.
What's stopping two legal states from shipping to each other, one with 0% sales tax and one with 23?
Exactly right.
They're already pushing those boundaries with this stupid rules.
Well, and we had the Wild West weed that showed up here in Billings. I mean, it was THC, it wasn't regulated. I mean, most of it was wax and a bunch of other filler thrown in a jar and called dabs. And so there's going to be a lot of that going around as well. And I see a pretty big flood from some of the international markets that are sitting on pretty heavy stockpiles as well.
Like Canada, but those 100,000 plant farms.
Blame Canada.
They certainly have a lot of weed.
You know what? I smoked a lot of beasters back in the day when it wasn't regulated, and I smoked a lot of brickweed, and I'm still here. So
yeah. We've talked about Marcus earlier with the testing, and I know we've talked about that on the show before as well. People smoked weed before it was tested. Yes, I of course agree that we shouldn't have pesticides or mycotoxins in our weed, but I don't think that's for the consumer.
I mean, you're not.
Yeah.
Don't be spraying that stuff on your plants at home. Don't be spraying that stuff on your plants in the gardens. And make sure you're doing proper washes, doing the proper things to take care of it. I mean, there's plenty of ways to do this right. And I think that's where we need to get to where people can come into our gardens. Because right now, unless you're an employee, unless you have a badge, you can't come into the garden. You can't explore anything. So we can't have classes to say, look, this is the way to properly grow your cannabis at home. This is the proper way to spray it. These are some of the things you should be using. Rather than using these harsh chemicals, how about use some citric acid? I mean, like that works great. So, I mean, there's plenty of things we need to get past, and hopefully we can get past it soon. But the CDC doing a lot of studies these days. Oh, yeah, them guys are on it. So they did a new study, and it finds cannabis use is shifting away from smoking. Just last year, we were talking about the pre-rolls, how they were the top selling category and stuff like that. Turns out that edibles, vapes, and dabs are more than 40% of what consumers are wanting these days.
Wow. I mean, I suppose that kind of reflects what we've seen, to be honest with you, over the last year as well. So that makes sense to me.
They're showing an age range of about 18 to 34. So some of those states that allow 18-year-old consumption.
Mm-hmm.
But the edibles, I think it has to do primarily with convenience.
Absolutely, and a lot of people
Definitely.
consume in the evening, right? And so it's very easy to eat an edible, close your eyes, and you're off to dreamland. So
Yeah. Well, and we get a lot of people that really after those gummies and stuff like that. I mean, they're not really into smoking. They've never smoked in their life. So trying to actually smoke something was really off-putting to them.
yeah, imagine being a brand new person. You walk into a store and you're like, well, never heard of this newfangled weed stuff. I need you guys to educate me. And we're like, here, put this smoke in your lungs. Or here, have some gummies. Try start with a half one. You know what I mean?
Here's a chocolate bar. Here's a
Right.
a lemonade. So
yeah, it's a much better modern launching point for sure.
Do you think, Marco, specifically? I mean, we've definitely seen that and moving into some of the new stuff that we're working on.
Definitely. Yeah, the idea of like just the convenience, I think, is the biggest thing, and being a little discreet. Some people still want to be a little discreet with it, so a gummy's are real easy. We have this awesome product coming in right now that is it's a sublingual strip
we've heard
that
about
you'll
this.
be able to use. Yeah, it's amazing. The effects are really good. It's fast acting. You can put whatever you want it. So we are in the process of doing it right now. Super excited. I think it's going to be kind of like the most non-invasive way to take it if you wanted to, if you're worried about every aspect of it and just wanted to get the effect of it, So I think people are definitely moving towards it,
Super covert too. I mean, just slide one under the tongue, go on about your day and you're
Put it
good.
in a breath mint.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to imagine sublingual absorption is maybe a little faster than eating it.
It is.
with your stomach as well.
Yeah.
So,
5
Yeah.
to 11 minutes and it's game time.
That's how they make you do the nitro. If you have a heart attack, they make you put it underneath your tongue.
wow.
Mhm.
So
You don't necessarily have to. It's dissolvable. It's going to dissolve super quick,
So you
no
can
matter
just
what,
eat it.
under the tongue or on the tongue. But it doesn't have to hit the liver. It's going to hit you real quick.
I do. I know.
well, it can hit every part of the body.
I'm excited. about
So
that.
we were earlier we were talking about CBD. So there was a recent study that was put out in Curious, the medical journal out there. The researchers tracked over 1,000 patients with chronic pain, and they reported 98% pain relief from CBD use, even
Wow.
on low doses.
That's awesome.
So it's a pretty good study. They're going to follow it up. There's some peer review that has been going on, and that's confirming the study. But even in low to moderate doses, most of the patients reported back having some sort of relief from their pain versus the control patients who received basically water or sugar water.
Yeah.
So it's really a big testament as to how much CBD is out there and really a medical necessity and something that we really need to pay attention to. The other thing that we got thrown out there, there's a landmark meta-analysis from the Whole Health Oncology Institute that analyzed over 10,000 studies. And they found overwhelming support for cannabis in managing pain, nausea, inflammation, and appetite loss in cancer patients. So them going through over 10,000 studies, they've pretty much shown that cannabis is one of those medicines that needs to be included in a lot of your your cancer regimens and stuff like that. We can get past this whole idea of if it might
Right.
help. We definitely know that it's
We
helping.
know.
We have. Go ahead.
I was going to say the cannabis side of it is really it's unfortunate because I know the state right now is trying to fight CBD right now,
Yeah.
and how to regulate it and what to do because they know legally it can be here, but we're not able to sell it in our stores, and it really that it's not a good thing. If the consumer wants it, they should regulate them both. The Farm Bill really, it tilted everything, and it's getting sent into our state like crazy. CBD and THC. But now I realize that we're in this kind of, unfortunately, the consumer is the one's going to suffer for it because the state won't really let us put too much, we really have to, we can't just put whatever we want on the shelf as far as CBD, you know, because it's coming in, it's a synthetic. They don't know how to process it or what to do with it. You ask the state, they don't know what to do there. It's, you know, it's like, it's a market that's like, you know, we want it to be here because it does, it helps so much, you know, and the consumers even having to fight it right now because the state doesn't know what to do, how to let it in, you know?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to try to figure that one out for sure, because I mean, it seems a pretty no-brainer to me that we have naturally produced CBDs within our products that we have. So it makes sense that we're able to sell CBD products, and hopefully we can start working together as a community to try to push some of this forward. I mean, I think one of the things that we have done as a cannabis community is we sort of sat back just a little bit and just let everything sort of flow. We haven't been really active in trying to get any of the regulations changed for the most part, or trying to get anything moving in the right direction. I think we need to sort of retool our own selves and step back and sort of say, hey, we as an industry need to have a bit more of a hands-on approach in trying to bring about new change when it comes to this legalization industry for sure. Slovenia, they're doing that though, proposing medical and medical cannabis legalization and scientific use. So over there in Slovenia, they're the next Europe. Only the scientists get to smoke weed.
I knew going to college was a good idea. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, for medical and scientific use. So
interesting.
I promise you, officer, it was for scientific use.
That's hilarious. I love that.
So all of our friends over in Slovenia, hopefully soon they'll be able to puff and pass medical cannabis and some of that, scientific cannabis as well with all their friends. But thrilled to see Europe embracing the cannabis scene and moving forward.
Yeah, we joke, but it's really good to see.
Well, and the other thing is we got to throw a shout out, to all the people around the world who are watching us as well. I mean, we only have a 47% U.S. audience, so a majority of our audience comes from outside the United States.
Yes, sir.
A lot of European countries out there looking at us as well.
Absolutely.
So this was a cool study. And we're getting close to the end of the news for sure.
I know. I mean, I'm loving it, to be honest. I know it's been a long episode, but hey, it is what it is.
Psychedelic users score higher on creativity.
Wow, what a shock.
One shot.
Yes.
No shot.
Sorry.
No shot.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Maybe we were pre-creative with this one. I mean,
yeah.
In a study published in PLOS 1, PLOS 1, 326 people were surveyed on their use of psychedelics. Users scored significantly higher on creativity, original thinking, and problem solving. Researchers linked this to an increase in sense of connectedness to self and others in nature. There's also something that they call the aha moment that a lot of people are reporting, like before they felt depressed, they felt, disconnected, stuff like that. Then all of a sudden through their psychedelic use or whatever, they hit this aha moment where they're like, yes, I feel connected with everything again. There's something bigger than me, something more present than me, and I'm connected to it again. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting to see how psychedelics are bringing us back to that connected area where a lot of people through the pharmaceutical approach, antidepressants and stuff like that, all talk about a sense of disconnected and, not being connected to anybody.
Well, and I know on the show we've talked about how it has medical evidence suggesting that it is highly effective for medication-resistant depression and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see how the psychedelic industry is moving through legislation throughout the country alongside the cannabis industry, apparently in a lot more effective ways. I don't know if the cannabis industry has laid a lot of those paths, or I kind of had this idea that maybe COVID had something to do with it. Everyone was locked inside and bored. I don't know what's
or hopefully we're just a diversion so we can get the psychedelics out, because that's really what we want.
Definitely.
Right.
Most certainly.
Sure.
I'm totally down with the trip.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So the other great thing going on out there, this is just in time for 420. Got Ben and Jerry's out there calling for governors to free cannabis prisoners. So yeah, Ben & Jerry's has partnered up with Last Prisoner Project to demand clemency for cannabis prisoners out there. And I think it's high time that all of the people who have been thrown in jail and criminalized over this plant be released and be able to enjoy a nice pint of Ben & Jerry's.
Yes.
I like it. It's one of the best munchie foods, right? How can you go wrong?
Stop talking about it.
So if you want to support the effort, hashtag 420 for freedom is what they're doing. So get out there and tag it out. Hashtag 420 for freedom.
Right on. Drop it in the chat. Well,
so beyond that, that is my news.
Right on. Well, I hope Tanaki doesn't mind, but we did forget to play our music video earlier, and it actually posted on YouTube and is playing in the background in studio while we were doing news. And I was like, oh yeah, we didn't do that on the show yet. So let's rock that song real quick. I think it is in the media asset.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we will get
Smoke them if you got
I
it.
think we only did the 1 minute preview.
We
If
did.
you want to see our full version, you're going to have to go check us out on YouTube or Spotify.
YouTube that released.
Yeah, it's already released, so some of you probably already seen it.
Here we go.
Gelato in the air, feel it everywhere. Light it up, slow motion. Velvet skies, midnight high. You and me floating past the city lights. Purple haze, sweet delight. Gelato dreams got me feeling right. Cold flame on the glass tip. Pull slow, let the night slip. Every cloud got me weightless. You the vibe and the strains, the playlist. Gelato nights, electric feel. Smooth like silk, this high is real. Flavor drip like candy rain. Inhale deep, erase the pain. Gelato nights, we lose control. Floating high, let the rhythm roll. Baseline low, heart sink slow. Gelato got me deep in the glow.
Alrighty, and we are back, folks. And we will jump right into some stoner trivia. We're gonna skip my intro video this week.
That's fair.
That's
We are
right.
running pretty long tonight.
And just for that disclaimer, this is all for educational
yes.
purposes.
And for fun,
all
not for
kinds of good
sale,
stuff,
all
not
that
all that.
nonsense.
Are we ready?
Mhm. Question number 1. Why is silica often added to cannabis nutrient regimens, particularly in hydroponic grows?
Ooh, fun.
A, to increase chlorophyll synthesis. B, to promote the optimal root growth, branching, and nitrogen uptake. C, to strengthen cell walls and improve resistance to pests and stress. Or D, to regulate phosphorus absorption and usage during flowering.
All right, what do we got out there in the chat?
Yeah, what are you thinking out there, guys, tonight? I know we've got several people out there on YouTube. Also, I know that our side only shows the Facebook, but I just want to drop a quick reminder for everyone to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate every one of you viewers. As Nate said, over half of you are from out of the U.S. Go ahead and drop some comments. Where are you from? Show us your love. See ya. Anyway, thanks, Tanaki.
Yeah.
I'm
What do you guys
guessing
have?
C.
All right, I'm going to guess C. What do we got out there? Marco, Sammy, what you guys got?
I'm thinking C.
Montana Mama in the chat saying C.
Mama, what's up?
Oh, I missed half of it.
Oh, no
What am I
worries.
voting for?
It's
B.
Got to make a quick decision. It's like school. You got
A.
called
I
on.
like A. A.
The correct answer is going to be C.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
All
enough.
right.
That makes sense. Usually, I think of silica as a nice way to strengthen up those stems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Number 2. Why might a grower use reverse osmosis or RO water in cannabis cultivation? A, it naturally contains beneficial microbes. B, it reduces pH and eliminates the need for adjustments. C, it allows full control over nutrient inputs by removing background minerals. Or D, it increases calcium and magnesium levels for healthy grow.
Got kind of a funny story about this one after the answer, I think. Yeah, for sure. Well, several funny stories. I actually have an RO system at home, and one of the funny stories is just the amount of water I've dumped on my floor, so you can all laugh at me. Probably at least 100 gallons. I don't know.
Nice.
Just a nightmarish amount.
That seems to be a common problem for people who use RO systems
and smoke weed. I think that's half the problem for sure. I'll admit it.
Half the water you use is wasted, so there's a lot of waste in making RO.
That is true.
Basically, 50% of the water that you use is wasted. So,
What do you guys have for your answer?
C.
No,
I'm B.
Oh, Marco's got a B. I got
a B.
I got C.
I also guess C.
C is going to be the correct answer.
Boom. Speaking of, along those lines, I've used water before aeroponically with no additives that have done a pretty dang good job of that veg stage. So some of that natural hard water can be quite minerally intense, actually.
There's a lot of calcium and minerals and stuff like that in the water that I think a lot of people discount. Iron, phosphates, nitrogen that naturally comes out of the ground.
Absolutely. Tons of stuff.
I think a lot of people like to just get to a zero and then add their own stuff so they know exactly what's going on. But I think you bring up a good point of going out and getting your water tested, seeing what's in your water, and then adding your supplement from there.
That's a good idea, and could be a nice way to find that middle ground.
And it's not very spendy to get one of those water tests done, or it used to be fairly inexpensive. Who knows nowadays?
Yeah, no quotes today for sure. Not from me. Well, Tanaki?
Honestly, why don't we just wrap it up there, and I'll save the other two for next
What was
week.
the answer?
Come on.
Oh, shit. The answer was C.
Oh, okay. She's like, nope, no answer for you guys.
Sorry, I thought I already gave you the answer.
Keep going.
Oh, we'll keep going? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's
Just
do
two
it.
more? All right. Number 3. What is a common symptom of root-bound cannabis plants in containers? A. Rapid vertical stretching with excessive leaf curling. B. Wilting despite adequate watering and feeding. C. Bright yellow fan leaves with brittle texture. Or D. Early flowering due to hormonal stress signal.
This is a tough one.
It like two answers in
I'm
my
going to
opinion.
say, yeah.
I have to settle between two personally as well. So I'm curious. I was going to go with that one. I'll go with the other option that I think might be right. Oh, interesting. You have a different second answer than me. So we're all over the place tonight, folks. This is good.
Let's see. Michelle's got A. What do you guys have?
I actually guessed D. I figured maybe the hormonal stress could be caused from so many things. It's kind of a broad answer.
So I went with A and B.
Okay. What about y'all?
I got
I thought it was
A.
B.
Wow.
Wow, very diverse in this one.
Sanaki's like, it is C.
No, the correct answer is B.
Okay, all right. B.
Oh.
Makes sense. Yeah. And I've noticed that before. You're like, what is wrong with this plant? But it's just totally root bound. It just can't do anything.
No matter how much water you dump on it, it just seems to still die.
Mm-hmm. Moving them up to bigger. I've had some success with moving them to bigger plot pots, but
Yeah.
depending on when you do that, that can stress them out a lot too.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Final question.
Final.
Number 4. Which of the following microbial inoculants is known for enhancing phosphorus availability in cannabis soils?
Oh, geez, Tanaki.
I know it's
This
a
is-
long word.
No, this is way more complicated than our normal microbial one.
Professor Tanaki over here.
This is a brain blaster.
A.
I mean, I feel like my guess is just the bait answer, but I'm gonna go for it anyway.
Oh, I don't have to try and say all these.
You can if you want to.
She's like,
I kind of already had it. Okay. A. Bacillus subtilis. B. Trichoderma hazananium.
Man, these are
Harazanium. See? Oh man. Azospirillum brasiliensis.
Yeah.
holy smokers, dude.
And D, mycorrhizal fungi.
Hey, know that one.
Hey, I've said that one before.
That's my guess. I feel like it's probably bait because I don't know if it increases phosphorus specifically. I know it's really good for the roots and it helps the root zone in so many ways, but that's a very specific question. So
I can't even pronounce 3 of those words.
I know.
So I don't even know what the hell they do.
Holly would say B.
B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, because it's the longest one.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Go with B.
Okay. What do you guys think?
I'm just gonna go with C, just because C was cooler earlier. So
Okay, fair.
everybody's being out. So
Jive Bear. Hey, nice to see you. I have not seen you in the chat before. It's always appreciate new chatters. I know that we've got a lot of lurkers, but hitting that sup really means a lot to us. What about you, Sammy?
Cat Bear TV.
I was going with A.
A? Okay. Bacillus. I could see that.
It is gonna be D, the good old mycorrhizal
Okay.
fungi.
Man, I thought it was late for sure. It was like, there's no way. It's
Nope.
like,
I always thought you guys were all gonna bite for the long one.
oh, see?
Organics.
We didn't go to MSU.
There we go.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank
Be
you,
careful
Tanaki.
now.
Heck yeah.
I did too go to MSU. Your football team sucked this year.
Alrighty.
You'll never get
Well-
me to admit that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I think with that, folks, we are going to call it a good night and kind of wrap up and say goodnight for the evening.
Well, yeah. Sorry. Go
Why
ahead.
don't you guys do one last little plug for your dispensary and yourselves, socials, anything like that?
Marco, do you
Sammy,
want to go?
no,
Okay.
you go, girl.
Yeah,
Get
so
it.
again, we have our website, powerplantmt.com. Follow us on Instagram. The handle is the Power Plant MT, all one word, lowercase. That's where you'll catch all of our latest strains and updates. We have a lot of cool artistic people who contribute to our page, so join us there. And yeah, come see us for 420. We've got awesome
Yes.
stuff going on this
Hey.
weekend, and I would love to celebrate with all of our magical stoner friends.
Absolutely.
That's right. Consume consciously, be active. We're at the beginning stages of the cannabis being legal. If you enjoy it, go out there and tell people that you do and what you like about it, and make sure that we fight the good fight with it. And happy 420 to everybody.
Happy 420.
420, guys.
Well, I got one quick announcement before we go, and it's very exciting out of Montana. This 420 you're going to see in Times Square. There's going to be on one of their big jumbotrons there a zigzag advertisement
wow.
that has Cannabis Now Media. Chris Fanuzzi and Lionheart out there have brought us to the Big Apple.
Wow.
We're sitting there for 420 and enjoying it. So that's a big thing. I mean, to have that displayed in Times Square
Yes, sir.
On Easter Sunday.
on Easter Sunday for 420.
Amazing.
Happy holidays.
Nice.
Happy
Nice.
420.
Happy 420.
Happy holidays, guys. For the
you.
guests,
Guys.
for the chatters, we will see you next week and enjoy. Stay lifted.
Heck
Bye.
yeah.
Stay
Peace out.
Have a good
Guys,
weekend.
Bye,
we appreciate
guys.
Happy
you.
420.
That was awesome. Thank you.